I suppose that I will start by also thanking Representative Gazaway for his work. And of course, I'm going to go into a litany of reasons why I can't support the bill, but I know what it's like to work really hard on a bill and for the right reasons. I'm not going to speak against the focus on lengthening the sentences. Just because I know that's the meat of this, I know that that's, and you've already heard Representative Collins speak to that point, so I won't be repetitive in that way. And Representative Ray just recited a very harrowing story that any of us would respond to and want to fix and want to prevent. I'll just say this. No matter how long we keep people in prison, if we don't spend resources, time, and energy on rehabilitation, and I'm talking about just for the people who already made it to prison, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, they will get out. And if we have not invested in education, literacy, mental health care, the problem will never change. The issue is not about how long they stay in, but when they get in these also violent environments, restrictive environments, not saying they shouldn't be restrictive. If we aren't doing anything to rehabilitate people who have already proven that they are violent, all we are doing is biding our time, and we will continue to experience the tragedies that we've heard about. And we will also be ignoring the fact that there are people who leave prison and move on to live out law-abiding lives, who work hard to reform and educate themselves and work and return to their families. We saw in this country a response to a very desperate time in the 80s and 90s when crack cocaine was the new drug that incited more violence. And our response was the response Arkansas is taking today. And not much changed as a result of that. There were still people who were addicted. There were still people who were trafficking. There were still people and families who suffered on the victim side, on the side of people who decided to take those actions and commit those crimes. It wasn't until we invested in prevention and treatment and reentry that we saw a change. And oftentimes we hear politicians of that time, including someone who has been governor and gone on to be president, who is today dogged by that action of locking people up. All we hear about is mass incarceration this and mass incarceration that. And that's what we're about to do. We already lock people up at rates higher than most countries that we have filed bills against doing business with. We can do better. And I'll finally say this. I've been here, this is my 9th year, and I have heard people come to this well, and also for us to provide oversight about the cost of things. I literally one time sat in a meeting and heard someone quibble about how much we were spending on pencils. We've also made decisions to not invest in school nurses to when we're going to address the funding to eliminate the DD list for the developmentally disabled. Not spending money or quibbling over how much we will or won't spend on our two largest industries, agriculture and tourism. And then, of course, we have made determinations that while we lower our taxes and determine we should expand prisons, we have one state hospital in the whole state. One state hospital. And over the years that I've been here, every session, there's been a fight about reimbursing our community mental health centers, to the point that many of them have closed down. We know that a majority of people in prison have mental health issues and have very low literacy rates. But we're about to have a 10-year impact, because nobody heard anything about the money. A 10-year impact in the fiscal impact statement associated with this bill of $163,830,282. But we're going to spend $4.5 million on specialty courts. We don't know how much we're going to dedicate to mental health. We can do better, and for that reason, I will be voting no, and I ask you to join me.
Representative Flowers has spoken against the bill.